Prepare yourself
for an entertaining
and somewhat informative
hour of MMA,
Our MMA
Talk Radio,
brought to you by the Man of Steel.
the
Y'all
Joe
hear me?
Show.
Timbo,
I hear you good. I can hear you.
No audio.
Can you hear us?
Okay.
You're good.
I can hear you good.
Mark,
So
I got
what's up,
no
guys?
audio in my headphones.
I'm doing good, Joe Show. You good?
I'm good, man. How was everybody's week?
Week was all right.
Pretty good.
You're sitting at work. Ocho's sitting in his home gym, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm up here in North Richland Hills, way out here.
I don't even know where that's at. It sounds like another state.
It's just right here by Fort Worth, so I'm out here Mondays and Fridays. Nationwide is on your side. So, were there any fights this weekend? Who fought Saturday night?
There were fights.
That's right. We were talking about that. So it was a UFC fight night, correct?
Correct. Yes, it was.
And actually Fort Worth native. Or was he an Arlington native? I think fighting out of Fort Worth, Kevin Trailblazer Holland was on that card.
Yes, he was on that card. He is entertaining as can be. I sent that message. Yes, sir. And that was Holland's response to when the ref says, "All right, guys, fight." And he turns and looks at the ref and says, "Yes, sir. Let's fight." He put on a great fight, and he put on a great show of just sitting there chattering the whole time. And usually it's harder to hear him with all that because of all the crowd. But in the Apex, you hear so much more. You could really hear Holland going on and on with just his chatter at Buckley.
Buckley, yeah. Hey, man, Buckley came from the LFA and had fought that previous Friday night,
Yes.
the week before, and came off with I think a second round knockout, and did real good.
And he's, I mean, you look at the way he's built. He's built like a little tank, man. He looks very muscular. He was swinging for the fences, looking for another knockout, but Holland just with those push kicks to the chest just kept him away, and then just was picking him apart.
Yeah, dude, it was a good. He dropped him early in that first round with the same combo that he finished the fight with. It was just a jab cross, but I mean that thing was like a sniper rifle. Just fired off the hip quickly.
Knocked his head back.
Dude, that was a dude. That shot was so lightning fast that Buckley don't even know what hit him. He was just on the mat. Kevin Holland didn't even have to do any ground and pound because the guy was done. The ref stepped in and saved the fighter, which was a good thing. He's a young guy coming up. You don't want him, get his head beat in too early in his career and ruin his motivation for fighting, for competing.
It was a good stoppage. I mean, even Buckley didn't contest it at all. He knew. I mean, and Holland hit him, stood back like, okay, what am I done? And then he and the ref stepped towards Buckley at the same time, and he was like, I'm ready to drop a few more, but he didn't need to.
Yeah, and that was good. That was good of Kevin Holland, and it seems like there was no bad blood in between the guys. They seemed like they were real respectful even during the fight. A little bit of honey dicking going on. But
that was, I mean, Holland came out like in the second and third. I'm like, all right, let's touch gloves. And in the second, Buckley was like, he wasn't sure. And Holland just stood there with his hand up, like, okay, touch my glove. We're not going to move forward until we touch gloves. Holland did seem to, and they talked about, he almost kind of mentored. He was talking through it. Okay, this is your first fight. And even after his interview, I mean, he gave him props for that. He goes, yeah, he fought last week, first fight in the UFC. He goes, I've been there. Know what it's like coming in, the first time jitters in the UFC. But I think Buckley had a decent performance for just fighting on a week's notice. But Holland was just dominant, and it was good to see him come out there and put on such a good show.
Kevin Holland looked very relaxed. He was too relaxed for me. I was like, damn, man, he looked so comfortable and didn't even look like he broke a sweat until the end of the fight. And Buckley was going buck wild, throwing those haymaker hooks. But never, he connected to some body shots, but never really connected too many times, on Kevin Holland. There he is. We were just reviewing Kevin Holland's fight against Buckley. What'd you think about that fight, man?
I thought it was a clean fight by Kevin Holland. He had to fight really smart because, Buckley had a lot of power. And, if he would have clipped him, it could have been it. But Kevin Holland's a real smart fighter. He stayed long, and he picked him apart.
No, Holland did go down with one shot, it looked like, from Buckley. And I wasn't sure if it was a clean shot or more of a slip, but he bounced right back up, though. But he did it, and that was the first round, I think, where he ended up on his butt. He didn't end up on his back at all.
Yeah, I think it was more of a slip.
Yeah, more of a slip. I never really seen him get rocked or hurt during that fight. I think he just kind of was a little off balance when that shot hit him and kind of just, scooted him on his butt. He popped right back up. But man, looking good, looking good. And shout out to Buckley, man, just a tough dude coming out, that victory of LFA and then coming in to fight a guy like Kevin Holland. I thought it was a really good matchup. I'd like to see more from Buckley in the future. He was exciting to watch, and he's going to do well in the UFC, man. As long as Buckley keeps, training and fix a little bit of holes in his game, works on his ground and pound, his ground game, man, he's going to be somebody to look out for. So don't count that guy out just because he lost to Kevin Holland.
Nope, you're right. He's first time in there. He will come back and put on another good show, I believe.
Yeah, buddy.
I did not get to see the first fight of the night, and I was wanting to see that one. I never saw a replay of it with Irwin Rivera.
Yeah, that was Ali Malik against Irwin Rivera, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that was a really good back and forth fight. I've trained a little bit with Ali. He's a Palestinian, I believe. He moved over to Dallas, so he's training out in Dallas, and we've done some training together. Dude's really high level.
So you've trained with him. You fought Rivera. So you knew both fighters as they're stepping in there.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be a tight fight. I knew it was going to be close on both those guys. I go toe to toe with Ali, and then I won a split. I think it was a split decision over Rivera. So that was a real close fight.
I want to go back and watch those fights. I don't think I've seen those fights with you. Were those in Dallas?
It was at the Allen Event Center, main event for Legacy something.
Well, I might have been there then. I might have seen that fight.
Yeah, you've probably seen it.
Yeah, because I think I think I've seen you fight you fought at that Allen Event Center quite a few times. Even when you won the Legacy World title was at the Allen Center, right? Yeah, that's right. Because then we all went over to that little restaurant. To the what?
That was at the Bomb Factory.
Oh, it was at the Bomb Factory when you won the title.
That's
was
right.
it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess you would know.
I would know.
Yeah. But
Yes,
I remember one night you had a big victory at the Allen Event Center, and then we all went over to one of the restaurants afterwards, and I think that's where maybe. Where was it?
Bar Lou's.
Did we? Yeah.
Yeah, that was when I was bleeding, right? I was all busted up.
Yeah, you had that cut. You're sitting
Rivera fight.
blood coming down. Those were some good post-fight pictures. And so
I was jacked up, man. I busted my knee on his forehead, He's got a hard head.
Ouch. So back to that card. Who else was on that card that stood out to you?
Dariush was one that I was saying I wanted to see him fight and do well, and he did. I think he the one he missed weight, but he was like, okay, if I got a bonus, he goes, give it to my opponent. I mean, he's like, so he very
Well, I mean, he doesn't get the bonus anyways. If you miss weight, you don't get the bonus. So,
Right.
I mean, he was just advocating because he wanted that accolade, like knockout of the night or whatever.
and what did he knock him out with?
Spinning back fist.
Yes, he did.
Oh man.
He throws it a lot different than I throw. He threw it with his elbow down, and it's a totally different technique the way he threw it.
Yes, it didn't look nearly as flashy and as exciting. I mean, it wasn't a true fall.
Work on it the way you throw it like that, and then yeah, if he would have threw it the way I threw it, I would have landed with the elbow. That would have been a spring back elbow for sure. But hey, it got the job done, and that's all that matters, right?
Yep. So it's good to see him doing well in there. I like that. I like that finish there.
And Dariush never misses weight. He's never missed weight before. It was an odd deal.
Blame it on the Rona.
Blame it on the Rona. Everybody's
everything on the Rona. I think nowadays, I think there's, at the sports books in Vegas, they probably have the over and under on how many fights will get canceled for Rona coming up.
Yeah, I bet somebody's betting on it.
Week. So this weekend we got a great weekend of fights. Where are you guys watching the fights at?
I don't know. We can come to my house.
I heard there's a little shindig going down at Ferris Wheeler's in Dallas. They'll be showing the fights. It's an outdoor barbecue backyard area, and myself and Mo Usman will be doing a little meet and greet there. And
wow!
We'll be having quite the crowd out there.
So you're throwing a plug out here. Okay, well, tell me about Ferris Wheeler.
Less than a crowd. However many people less than a crowd we need it to be, that's how many people are going to be there.
One less.
Yes,
one person less than a crowd.
Exactly.
And if you're saying if we're a few over, I'm going to have to leave. What?
You're not invited anyways, Tim.
A medium gathering.
It will fit all the guidelines for Governor Abbott.
Yeah, something like that.
So
like that.
Where is the place?
It's off of Dallas North Tollway and around Oaklawn area. So the Arts District of Dallas.
Well, that's right down the street from your house. A little bit of drive from Frisco, but yeah, we'll see what's up, man.
Hey man, you should come out. It's gonna be a good time. We're gonna be watching some great fights. I mean, we got the DC versus Stipe Miocic trilogy coming up this weekend, and everybody's really looking forward to that. And then Sugar Sean O'Malley getting tested against Chito Vera. What do you guys think about that fight?
Yeah, it's gonna be good, man. I can't wait to see. Sugar Sean O'Malley is always exciting to watch. So we'll see how it goes. I'm ready for him to be tested, right?
Yeah.
I want to see what his chin's like. I want a guy who's going to push him to the limit and see what he's really made of,
And that's what they keep saying. This is going to be his biggest test ever coming into this fight. So be interesting to see how he does. He's very flashy. He's very charismatic with everything, how he holds himself and he pushes himself out there and sells himself. And it's one of those things. Has the UFC been trying to build another superstar, trying to build another name so that they can, with Conor supposedly stepping away, they have someone to take his place. So this will be a good fight for him to really show what he can do.
Well, yeah, they're trying to build that guy up. Yeah,
he's performed time and time again. He's done the job. They put a task in front of him. He knocks it out of the park. Then they give him another good matchup. The last one against Eddie Wineland, we thought that would be a good test for him, but he went out there and he passed with flying colors. I mean, he had Eddie Weidman just
Shocking.
Yeah,
Shocking.
had him waiting to get hit, and then it was like he was just like watching that punch come at him, and it was the feints and the way he drew him out, and he fought a really clean fight. So if he keeps doing that, then he'll keep getting promoted and pushed to the top. So, but this is the toughest fight. I've been on the same card with Kudo before. I've met him. I've watched him fight many times, and the guy has legit skills, and he ain't scared of nobody. So that's a great test for O'Malley.
Even if he's coming into this fight, he's not even talking about his opponent this weekend. He's already talking about who he wants next. And is that there's just confidence in what he's going to be able to do. He knows he's going to come in there and finish him. So he's not worried about his opponent this weekend.
Well, he should be worried about his opponent, because nobody's talking about Chito, but Chito is
He's a bad dude.
He's the underdog. I'm going to bet on Chito, and I think you should as well. If that's everybody wants to go with the star Sean O'Malley, but I mean, just from a fighter's perspective, I think Chito could really, really go in there and make a statement.
That would be something to see.
I mean, there's a black belt and Sean O'Malley's like a purple belt, right?
So you think it'd take him to the ground?
No, I'm just saying, and then Cheeto's got great stand up. It's like he's got more experience against higher level competition, so it makes sense to go with the guy that's fought tougher guys. Even though he's got a couple losses, that doesn't mean anything. He's been fighting a higher level competition.
Right, and when O'Malley beat what's his name, Weidman? How pronounce it? Yeah, I mean that guy's a journeyman, man. He's kind of old school.
He is old school. He hasn't evolved with the game. He's been fighting for since I started fighting. So I think it's the end of his rope.
Yeah, and he's had a ton of fights. He's had some tough fights. So he didn't change anything going in. He still fought with his hands down, and his head movement wasn't what it used to be. So it was an easy fight for O'Malley.
Yeah, well, O'Malley definitely made it look easy. So.
Yeah, he did. He did.
And that seems I think he comes into a lot of his fights, and you think, okay, this can be a challenge, but he makes it look easy. I mean, is he that dominant? Is he that he's he's very flashy with some of his moves. I think it throws some people off that they're not really sure what's coming at him, how he's going to be moving forward.
I think a lot of fighters are thrown off with this confidence. They're like, what's he know that I don't know? Why is he so confident? What's he bringing to the table? And then once they start getting hit, they're just already in their head and they just crumble.
And it looks like he hits pretty hard.
Yes.
It's got a lot of pop on that. So,
your money's on Chito?
Yeah, just the fact that he's the underdog and people are counting him out, I think that's a bad idea. I'd like O'Malley to win, but just smart money on. Go with the underdog that's being counted out. That's got the skills. I think he's going to go out there and really put O'Malley in his place.
That'll be something to see.
Yeah. That'll
be exciting.
Yeah, no doubt.
What about, so let's go back to last weekend before we get too far ahead. Chris Weidman came out, fought Amari, I can never pronounce the name, Arkhamedov, and it was an ugly fight, but he got the job done. I don't know that Chris Weidman is ever going to make his way back to the top of the food chain or get a title fight. You never know. We'll see how he looks at his next 185 pound fight. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't think he knows where he's going with his career yet. He's on the ass end of his career, and he's made it to the top. He's on the way down. It's like, when do you want to cut it off? I think he's just waiting for a couple more paychecks and one more farewell goodbye fight.
I agree with Joe. He's probably not going to make it to the top, but if he's still out there, he's performing and doing well, putting on good shows, not getting his head beat in, and he's bringing in a paycheck, I could see him continue for a little bit on that.
Yeah, as long as he can continue to make 185, which was a good move for him to go back down to 185 because he had went up to a 205 and he was just getting beat up, at 205. So
yeah, that was not the weight class for him.
Nah, he's not big enough, but he looked solid. He didn't. It's another guy that he just kind of looked like the same fighter to me. I'm still looking for that Chris Weidman that beat, Anderson Silva. Where did that guy go? Where is that guy who was destroying people and beat up Anderson Silva 2 times, knocked him out the first time and broke his leg the second time? Where's that guy at?
Maybe young lion that had nothing, and then now he's got everything he wants. So he doesn't have that drive anymore.
Until he got a few losses and was like, hey, I gotta get back on the wagon here and get some fights going.
So, and we brought this up before, where fighters do well, they're moving along, they think they're good in their career, they kind of start taking a little bit easy, kind of coasting in, and don't take things as serious. It seems like where they're like, okay, I'm here, I've got this, and then they come across when they're getting their opponent steps in, and it's like, yeah, you really don't have it right now. You're taking it too easy. So whether it's getting later in the career, they're getting overconfident with things. But I think that kind of Weidman's, what you're saying, is kind of around that same area, but he needs to really pick it back up if he wants to move up into the upper rankings there.
Well, and then one of his conversations was, or the commentators was like, well, 205 was easy for him to make. The weight, it wasn't a struggle, and he didn't have to put in the same work as he does at 185, and that made sense to me. He looks good physically, and he fought a tough fighter, but maybe should have finished that guy if he's really trying to make a statement.
Yeah, he just looked awkward on the feet. He needs to really just hone in. Be in the moment. Maybe he wasn't really there, and then you got to get punched back into the moment sometimes.
Punched into the moment.
Yeah. You'll wake up, or you'll go to sleep.
And I've seen that happen with fighters. They step in there, they're kind of dancing around. They get tagged, and they get dropped really quick, and they stand up like, all right.
Oh shit! I'm in a fight.
I need to pick it up a bit. This guy's ready to take my damn head off.
Well, even in Steven's prior fights, a few times you got clocked is when you really woke up, and you talked about that before. Take a good smack and you're like, oh shit, I better, I'm fighting. Let's get on it.
We're not just throwing hands. When you get popped with a good one, you're like, oh shit, this guy's really trying to hurt me.
Yeah, for sure. What'd you think about the main event, man? It's almost exactly what I said it was going to be. Timbo Slice. I called that fight exactly. I called it.
Did you call it?
He did call that. You know what?
I called it the week before. You just took my quotes when I was.
No, bullshit. You were pulling for the other dude, I think.
No, I didn't. I broke this fight down. It was on BJ Penn. I broke it down.
Oh, did you?
For Cole, and I said basically Olenek needs to fight a perfect fight. He needs to fight 5 rounds, and Derek Lewis only needs to fight. He only needs to land some power, and he's within 25 minutes, and he's got it for the whole 25 minutes. Within 25 minutes, odds are more likely that he's going to land that shot, that finishing blow, and land. And Olenek is going to fight a perfect fight and not get hit with that power and take him down and wrestle him. Olenek was not going to submit him. He has not been submitted. So I knew it was just a matter of time before the Beast does what the Beast does.
And even as that fight started, the ref brought him to the center of the ring. Olenek never looked at Lewis. I mean, his head was down, his eyes were down. It's almost like what you said before, Ocho, is he's going into the fight where he feels like he's already outclassed and doesn't want to look him in the eye. doesn't want to look that
Some people use that as a mind game, like John Jones, but I don't respect that game. That I want to look my opponent in the eye. And if he doesn't look me in the eyes, I'm not going to be offset. I'm going to look at it as a sign of arrogance or as a sign of he doesn't have the balls to look me in the eyes. It's one or the other. Either he's arrogant or he doesn't have the balls.
I think he was more arrogant. I mean, Olenek has so many fights and so many victories. I don't think he was intimidated or scared. That might just be his deal. I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch his last fights to see if he's looking at guys in the eyes.
The eyes, like you're gonna fight me, but you're not gonna look me in the eyes. So that's a lack of respect there, in my opinion.
He didn't look up at his eyes until Lewis turned around. You could see his eyes kind of look up, like, okay, that's the guy I'm fighting. So I thought that first round was good. They rolled back and forth. There's times almost like Lewis just got on top of Olenek, then Olenek rolled back over on top of Lewis, and then Lewis got back, but it seemed very slow and methodical with that. And Lewis was getting his neck cranked and he even said that after the fight. He goes, whatever the hell he was trying to do to me. He goes, that was tight in there. That was
bulldog. He called it a bulldog. He called it the bulldog choke.
That's not a bulldog choke. Bulldog choke's from a 50-50 position, a headlock position. So that would be a neck crank. It's a type, maybe a bulldog neck crank or something.
And he had his face.
Well, that's just
where he was kind of smothering him a bit too.
That's what Derek Lewis was saying. But he's a blue belt, so.
Right. You could hear Derek Lewis gasping and kind of gurgling, and I was like, "Don't tap, bro! Don't tap!"
Well, counting down to 10 seconds for him, and I'm like, "Okay, you got it." They're like 5 more seconds. So
it's not really much of a choke. I mean, you can definitely go unconscious in that position, but it's more of a neck crank than anything else.
So it's painful on the neck.
Yeah, you're pulling their neck forward, and basically it's a spinal. So they, I mean, he looked like he'd been working on his wrestling, is what I saw from Lewis. He looked like he'd been working on his hips and shutting down takedowns, sitting out, and scrambling. So if he keeps on that path, I think Lewis is going to be a real problem to deal with. He already is a problem, but I think he'll be back in title contention if he continues to work on his wrestling and is able to go out there and use it like that, because that's been his only major hole in the past.
Is the ground game. For the Black Beast, as long as he's healthy, he's always watchable. He's always going to draw. He can always make a main event showing, even if he's not the champion. I mean, I'm sure that guy's making plenty of money. He's won plenty of fight night bonuses. He's got good sponsorship. Even if he's not the champ, people are going to tune in and watch that guy fight. Just as you don't know what's going to happen. Because at any given second, he's going to knock somebody out.
He puts on a good fight. So the fight aspect is very entertaining. His commentating is very entertaining as well. I mean, he's out there. His post-fight.
He is the king of post-fight interviews.
Did you hear what he said? He didn't think he was live. He goes, I got to go take a shit.
Yeah, he knew he was live. He was bullshitting.
He saw that red light turn on. He saw the red light turn on, and that's when he said it. I mean,
he's like, Bob, I got to take a shit.
To where he plans this stuff out. Like, he's a goofy dude, but I think he.
You think it's not scripted, but it's in his mind of I should say this.
Yeah, I should do something ridiculous on camera because then people are going to talk about it, and he just lets it flow, and just like these thoughts come to mind, and he just like, oh man, my balls was hot, and all that. It's like
there's no filter on
that because that catches the headlines, and he's a really smart guy.
And I think you're right with that, because now people expect to hear something out of him as well.
Right. Everybody's listening. Everybody's listening. They don't leave right after the fight. They wait. They wait for his post-fight interview because they want to hear what he has to say.
Exactly. Yep.
Those are two visuals that I just didn't want in my head. His big sweaty balls and him taking a shit. Did not want those visuals in my head.
You're thinking too much about it, Joe Show.
I know. I dreamt about it the other night.
Good for you.
Yeah, Derek Lewis, it looked like he came out unscathed and will be ready to fight again. He's talking about dropping down to where he's, fighting at 250. I don't think that's a good idea for him. I think part of his power and his because he comes so heavy. He looked good at 265. He came in the official weigh-in. I think he was 264 at the weigh-in or something, 265, and went a 265 pound, and then he goes, he rehydrates. He's 275, 280. That is laying on top of you. I think that's that's a good thing. It's better for him. I think if he gets too light, he's going to lose that ability to lay on guys and overpower them. That's what I think. I don't think he needs to lose that too much weight.
I think he should lose a couple pounds. I think he'll be quicker. He'll be able to manage his weight better. He'll still be just as strong. I mean, he'll be a better fighter because how is he going to lose that weight? With discipline and training. He's going to be wrestling. He's going to be grinding. He's going to be working on the aspects of his game that he needs to work on because Lewis is not the best in any one area. It's not like he's like an elite wrestler or an elite striker, but he's got these, this mindset and these attributes to where he can finish the fight at any moment. So if he were to pick up his skill level in the wrestling, in the boxing, by basically just training more often and getting in better shape, then he would be an elite fighter, like one of the top.
And I think losing a few extra pounds is going to help him as he goes into later rounds as well. I mean, you're carrying around extra weight. If you're going to go into rounds 3, 4, possibly a 5th round, your stamina, your cardio, I think, has to do with how much weight you're lugging around to. If he's dropped 10, 15 pounds, whatever he's looking to lose, he might be a little more agile, and he might have that stamina to keep moving around the cage as he gets into the later rounds.
Yeah, the reason I was saying that because I was thinking about boxing. Deontay Wilder fought Tyson Fury for the second time. Well, everybody thought it was a mistake for Tyson Fury to show up. Tyson Fury showed. I mean, he fought that night. He was almost 300 pounds when he showed up to fight, and he just big-manned Deontay Wilder, and that's what I'm talking about. If he can keep that weight and keep the skill and improve the skill. That's just what I was thinking about because Tyson Fury just big man pushed around and beat up on Deontay Wilder because he was so much bigger and heavier.
Yeah,
but it made
set with the boxing. It's
not the same.
I'd say boxing and MMA and the skill set that Tyson Fury brings to the table. Definitely like apples to oranges in my opinion.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're right about that, but. We'll see. Exciting to watch. Can't wait to see the next one.
You got you to admit I'm right about something.
Oh, you're always right. You're the informative one on the show.
Hey,
I don't even know why we keep Timbo around. What are you drinking there, Timbo? Is that vodka?
No, it's water.
Oh, okay, cool.
Great water, man. I drink it by the bottle, not by the gallon like Ocho.
No shit.
So you see Zoe got signed to fight OSP. Did you guys talk about that one?
No, we did not.
Fight over in St. Preux. So Ovince St. Preux has been around the UFC for quite some years. He's got a lot of Von Flue choke, right? He's got like 2 or 3 different Von Flue choke wins. He's elite athlete, and he's fighting another elite athlete in Menifield. Menifield's, my teammate, and big opportunity for him coming up. Dude,
that's such a good matchup. That's a good matchup, man. Those guys are evenly matched. OSP, man, he's been around the block. He's fought some top level. That's a pretty good matchup for Menifield. And Menifield's going to have to show up and, be on his best game for that, for that night.
Dropped that decision. He lost his last fight in decision, and he controlled the fight, but he was kind of gassed out and wasn't able to really throw his hands. And in the later rounds, kind of faded. He's been on an absolute warpath, like in the gym, just training, working his cardio. He's making sure that that's not going to happen again. So, I'm confident we're going to see the best version of Alonzo in his next fight against Ovince St. Preux.
Yeah, he's going to have to be. He's going to have, and Ovince St. Preux is another fighter who's not, he hasn't changed his game much since he started. His striking has never been that good. His wrestling's not great. He's just a big, athletic, powerful guy, OSP. So I think Alonzo will probably beat him up, is what I'm thinking.
I'm hoping.
I think so. I think Alonzo's striking is a lot sharper than OSP because OSP still throws really weird, wild, hands down, wide kicks. His punt. He just has never improved on his striking ability, even since he started. He knocked out
his wrestling in the ground game, basically.
Yeah, he's worked on that, but he still kicks weird. He still punches weird. He's very, awkward fighter. But I am a fan of OSP as well. I do enjoy his fights, but since he's fighting Alonzo, Fortis MMA man, and we know Alonzo, from coming on the show and stuff like that, and that's who I'm rooting for. This is going to be a big, tough guy to fight. So Alonzo,
I put my money on Alonzo. I mean,
for sure,
get the job done. So
that is exciting news.
Yeah. So main event this weekend. Who you got? DC or Miocic?
Miocic.
You think so? I think DC.
Yeah.
I think DC is gonna come through with it. I mean, he's gone back and forth where I'm gonna wrestle him. I'm gonna take him down and wrestle him. Now he's like, I'm gonna stand up with him. I rewatched both of the last two fights. I think DC only lost one round in their out of the last two fights combined, and that was the fourth round where he took 14 left hook body shots that were just killer. That's what took him down. So if he's can keep away from those body shots, he took 14 of them were right in that fourth round, and that just wore him out. He was already starting to get a little tired, but that's what took him out. But I think his stand up was just in that second one. He was tagging him the whole time. If he can continue to do that, then still take him down and dominant on the ground, I'm thinking DC's got a lot on his mind. Really, he wants to come out. He wants to go out on top. I think that's going to motivate him a lot.
He's motivated to go out on top, but think about this: DC has not done very well in rematches. Look at his fights with Jones. Look at his second fight with Miocic. He hasn't done the adjustments and done very well. I mean, I'm sure he knows how he got beaten. He's been studying it. But does that cause him to have a mental lapse where he's just looking at what went wrong and then it happens again, or it happens, even worse and he loses the rematch? And then the second thing is he's been working with Steven Seagal. So
how much? Just that one time that I saw that one little video? But
they wouldn't show the video of what he's been working on. So who knows what he's going to bring to the table?
Who's working with Steven Seagal?
DC. He's working with Seagal. So
hey man, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Say what you will about Steven Seagal. That is a 6'7" man that is 300 pounds that'll slap the shit out of you.
I wouldn't want to fuck with Steven Seagal.
Fuck no.
Just because he's been in the movies and shit doesn't mean he's not a badass.
Dude, he was a police officer. And have you ever seen that guy shoot a gun? That guy can put bullets in the same hole multiple shots in a row. He's a very disciplined guy. He may be a weird Hollywood dude and people talk shit about him because he
just wears the trench coat and has the fucking look to him. It's like this dude. But I mean, you see a dude like that, especially that big. I mean, I see a guy in a trench coat. I'm like, I don't want to fuck with that dude.
He's probably 300 pounds.
Yeah, Seagal, yeah, especially just anybody. If they got like a hat on and a trench coat, like a little top hat, it's like, hey, you don't want to fuck with that guy. He knows something.
Yeah, that guy knows something.
So you think the hat and the trench coat is what you're saying?
Yeah, like Carmen San Diego.
Serious. It could be portrayed as creepy. It just depends how you look in
It depends on where I'm standing in the trench coat.
Yeah, and the look on your face too. You can't be smiling and shit.
I'll have my mask on. You won't be able to see my face.
There you go. If you have your with the mask on, that's a sinister look.
Yep.
So here's what I think about DC and Stipe. Stipe wants to be the champion again, and he wants to own that belt. I think DC's thinking more about his retirement and his legacy, and going in with that mind. What mindset is he going in? I want to be the world champion and defend the belt for the next 5 years, or I want to get the belt and just retire and make this my last fight and end up on top. That's a different type of hunger than Stipe. Stipe wants to come in, get that belt, and defend the belt. So I think it's just a different mindset for me. That's the only reason I think Cormier has the tools to win. If he can keep from getting knocked out and work that wrestling, Cormier could win it. But Stipe is going in to be the champ and hold that belt for a while and defend that belt. Cormier is thinking about retiring, and which is more important, or which beast is showing up that night.
Which is more motivational. But I've also heard comments of Stipe thinking he's not going to fight much longer. So what is he really looking to? Is he going to win and have another couple fights, or is he? What's he want to do with it? I mean, there's so many rumors out there. Even Dana White's going, DC's not going to retire. I mean, so even though DC's been talking about it for a year.
When you retire, your paycheck goes up. I think that's what it comes down to. And then if he were to retire, he were to win and then retire, then he would make millions for the John Jones trilogy. Wait, that one's already on 3, but they would do it again for the heavyweight title.
So if DC, go ahead, Timbo.
One was a no contest, so yeah, they have 3, but one's a no contest, so it's not really a down as a trilogy. Yeah, they did fight 3 times. So would he come back for that? Maybe.
Well, this belt is the heavyweight belt, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
So if DC gets past Stipe, takes the belt, who's next in line? Francis Ngannou?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who you'd have to defend the belt against. And he's already beaten Ngannou once, didn't he? He just wrestled him to death, and so we'll see if he retires. If he goes out there and knocks Stipe out, he's not retiring. Or if he's, like you said, if he retires, he's going to do it for the big money comeback. But once you get that belt, he's just not going to relinquish it and let some interim champion do it again. I don't know. Who knows what he's thinking? Depends on how the fight goes, how beat up each of them get. Either way, if one guy gets knocked out in the first round, I don't see the other, the winner retiring right away, because there's not a lot of guys that can challenge Stipe, and there's not a lot of guys that can challenge Cormier at that level right now. Only one is like Francis Ngannou, and he's a knockout artist. He's not a wrestler or even just very superior striking. So I think either Stipe and Cormier could hold on to that belt for a while.
I mean, because you got Ngannou is 3, then you got Blades, Rosenstruck, Overeem, JDS, and Derek Lewis are your top 8 in that heavyweight there. So,
and none of those guys can threaten Cormier or Stipe, I feel. Maybe Ngannou just because his knockout power, but the Stipe and they both beat him.
The way Ngannou just knocked out Rosenstruck, I mean, it was like immediate knockout, and that sets him up for they can promote the title fight now, or the rematch against DC, because I mean, even DC got clipped in that first fight, and he got rocked. So, I mean, Nagano, you put him against anybody. He can run out there and just knock the dude out. So,
But see, even on this card, you got Rosenstruck and JDS going at it, and they're on the main card. So that they're
that's another that could be a title eliminator fight.
yeah. So whoever comes out on top in the main event, granted, those two are ranked 7th and 9th. So, but it is leading up to that. If whoever comes out on top with that JDS and Rosenstruck fight tonight or tomorrow night.
Man, it's hard to count out Junior Dos Santos, man. He's a bad dude, but he is up there in the years. He's got a lot of miles on him.
He's had some wars, man.
Had some wars, but he's so good. You can't count him out. He is a big fighter who has evolved even with the game and can still compete at a high level. It's just, he is getting older. Is he better than Rosenstrike? I think he's better technically, but does he have the youth to pull it off again, to get one more war, one more victory?
Well, we'll find out tomorrow night. Come on out to Ferris Wheeler in Dallas. Don't want to miss it. It's going to be a great event. We'll have a great time. Be taking pictures. I'm going to ride my bike out there. Joe, you should ride your bike out there.
Oh, snap. All right.
So I'm going to ride my bike out there, watch the fights, probably end up leaving my bike there and go have a good time. So also, this Tuesday coming up, Dana White Contender Series, you do not want to miss Cheyenne Buys. She'll be fighting for her UFC contract, and it's going to be a great one. She definitely deserves what's coming her way. And, her husband, JP Buys, was supposed to fight for a contract not too long ago, but he does not have a work visa. Because of the corona, they delayed his work visa, so he's kind of just stuck waiting for a visa so he can take this opportunity that he had and no longer has. So
he needs a work visa so he can go in and fight on.
Yeah, he got signed to fight on the Contender Series, and then the work visa was delayed, and then so they delayed the fight, and then the work visa never came, so now he had to pull from the fight and wait on his work visa. So, but when things like this happen, it always means like something else is going to happen good. So maybe when he gets his work visa, then he'll get a UFC contract, or he'll get a fight in the UFC, or a different matchup in the Contender Series. So you never know what one road's going to turn into. When something comes up and you got to move around it, you just got to, keep your head up and keep working. So that's exactly what he's doing. He's one of the hardest working men that I know personally, and I know a lot of hardworking men from, Fortis and everything else. But he's one of the hardest working men, and he deserves, to fight for the UFC. So I look forward to seeing him get his visa and getting in there. His wife, Cheyenne Buys, fighting on Tuesday for her contract. And that would be so nice to see them both, get signed to the UFC this year.
Fight on the same card be really cool. 2 fight of the night bonuses would really help that out, huh?
And it'd be the first time 2 couples won on the same card, or a married couple won on the same card.
That is pretty cool. And
wasn't there? Didn't we have a?
The husband and wife has fought on the same card, but they have not won on the same card.
Right.
What about a wife and wife fighting on the same card?
That would be really interesting. That would be groundbreaking, Timbo.
I thought there wasn't
Nunes.
Yeah, help me with some names here because I'm drunk.
Nunes and
UFC now.
Huh?
I don't think is she in the UFC? Nunes?
Yeah, she's top. Yeah, Amanda Nunes, his wife, is also in the top 10.
Huh.
I thought they both fought on the same card not too long ago. I could be.
You may be right. I'm gonna have to look that up. But
look that up. And that's an interesting statistic because I think they would have made bigger news about that.
Maybe. Yeah, it seems like they would.
All right. Well, it's been great talking to you guys. I got other shit I got to do. Thanks for
Shout out to Jeff Neal.
Shout out to Jeff Neal. Hope he recovers quickly. from his ailments. I know he was really sick, and he's getting better now. So
That's good to hear, man.
we hope the
All right,
best.
thank you guys. Been a long time.
Yeah. Come out to Ferris Wheelers. We'll have a couple drinks. We'll have a good time.
I did last time I hung with the two of you.
Well, see you soon. Thanks for tuning in. This is Fight Fit Radio. We'll see y'all next week.
All right, see ya.